In today's City Beat column, something actually very special. We're going to introduce you to a college graduate, but not like all the other college graduates you'll meet at this time of the year. Nita Lelyfeld is telling this man's story. His name is Saul Isler, and he got his degree about a week after his 85th birthday. Nita, this is a great story. Introduce us to Saul.
He wrote to me when I first started my column. I asked people to share their stories about LA, and Saul's was one of the first ones I got. And he told me all the things he'd done in life. He'd been a patent draftsman doing the very technical drawings that go along with the patent application. He'd run his own ad agency. He had written 3 novels and 3 books of short stories and a book that explains how to do acrostic puzzles. He wrote restaurant reviews.
But it was the first sentence in his note to you that hooked you.
The very first sentence was, after I flunked out of engineering school, I went on to become ... And then he told me his story. And I just loved the idea of that here was this man telling me, you know, about a bad moment in his life and all that happened afterwards.
So he goes to Santa Monica College, and what's he studied, and you know, what is he doing with this all this new knowledge?
The first time he went to school, he thought he was going to be a patent attorney, which is what his father was, and it was during an era when you didn't sort of follow your bliss and you did what people thought you should do. And so he was going to follow in his father's footsteps, only he was terrible at math and he was terrible at science, and he hated it. It took him a long time to figure out that he was a really creative person and that he loves words. So the second time around, he took writing courses, he took script writing, he took a rhetoric class, I think, he took a history class. He just had fun doing things that interested him.
I love you describing him sitting in the class. He goes and he sits in the very front row, and unlike the other students, no kombucha on the desk.
No water bottle.
And no laptop.
No laptop,
but
no screen.
But very present. Like
very
he sounds
present.
like he's been very present for every moment of this experience.
And very much one of the kids. He's just got a lot of friends in the classes. One of them came to graduation last night and sat there the whole time, just beaming at him. He really has become one of them. And the greatest thing he says that he got out of his education at Santa Monica College was walking into this extremely diverse, wonderful world where people spoke many different languages and came from many different places. And so there's an 85-year-old guy in your class, no big deal. There's so much diversity, and he just embraced that and loved it.
Some of the kids in my class are young enough to be my great-grandchildren. And it's still a great experience for me. The nervousness I felt walking in disappeared immediately, and I became kind of one of them. I don't pretend to be their age or anything like that. I don't dress like them, but I am kind of with them.
You can take a look at the picture that's up behind us, which I just think is the happiest photograph I've seen in ages. All of those students look so happy for him. Tell us what was happening in that moment.
There was a special moment when Alex Padilla, who was giving the keynote speech, mentioned that there was an 85-year-old graduate in the class, and Saul stood up and raised his cap.
Isler, who is graduating at the ripe young age of 85.
What's his family's reaction?
They are thrilled for him. He actually has his eldest daughter is 61, and she just got her 5th degree.
Oh my gosh.
She missed her own commencement for that degree to go to her father's because it meant so much to him, but they're thrilled for him. They know how much it means to him, and they just think he's a beautiful man who's never stopped learning and never stopped exploring and never stopped finding joy in life.
So I ask you again, what is he going to do with all of this newly earned knowledge?
He's going to keep doing what he does, which is he writes every day. He reads novels. He has a wall in his bedroom of famous novelists whose work he's read all of. And he has this big comfy leather chair, and at 6 o'clock in the evening, he makes himself a martini with a twist of lemon, sits with a novel.
That's the good life.
Yeah, and then he'll write.
And I know that his son called you on your way in today to thank you for telling his father's story. Nita, this is another one of those special little pieces of gold that you find in Southern California. remind people how to reach you if they want to share their own personal stories?
They can write to me at citybeat@latimes.com, and this is what happened when someone did.
That's right. Not just from LA, Orange County, Riverside County, wherever you are in Southern
Anywhere
California.
in the area.
Thanks, Nita.
Thank you.
To read more from Nita and keep up with the latest City Beat column, log on to latimes.com.